So in the previous lecture, we started design of reinforced concrete structures. We discussed about the limit state method of design. We discussed what is this limit state or what is limit state method, why it has replaced that working stress method and our ultimate load method, or what is the advantage or importance of limit state method. We discussed about limit state. What is limit state? As we know, it is discussed under two headings, that is limit state of collapse and limit state of serviceability. We discussed what is limit state of collapse, what is limit state of serviceability. Limit state of collapse deals with flexure, shear, torsion, compression, etc. And limit state of serviceability deals with vibration, cracks, deflection, etc. Then after that, we discussed about the design load and characteristic load, and we know the equations for finding the characteristic load and design load. We discussed about the partial safety factors we used for finding the design load for limit state of collapse and limit state of serviceability. I told you it's a very important table. All the values given in those tables are very important. You have to remember them. And there are two cases are also there. You might be remembering if reversal of stresses or stability against overturning is involved, what will happen? You already know those things. We will replace that 1.5 with 0.9. Those who were absent, those who didn't watch the previous lecture, you can watch it. You will understand it in a better way. And after that, we discussed about characteristic strength of concrete and design strength. We discussed the equation for finding the characteristic strength, or how we will find the characteristic strength of the concrete. After that, partial safety factor for material. What is the gamma F or partial safety factor for concrete, and what is the partial safety factor for steel? We know those values for limit state of collapse and limit state of serviceability. We discussed about the Young's modulus of concrete. Before that, we discussed about the stress strain curve of the concrete. It is a non-linear curve. We'll be having a maximum value at the strain value 0.002 or 0.2%, and the strength value or the stress value corresponding to that is taken as FCK, that is characteristic compressive strength of the concrete. Then after that, we discussed about that stress strain curve of the concrete. We discussed about the creep of concrete and the shrinkage of concrete. We know what is creep, right? It's a permanent deformation occurring in the concrete. That's a property of concrete, in which inelastic deformations are there in the concrete. We know what are the factors affecting our creep. And what is shrinkage? It is the volume reduction due to the escape of moisture from the concrete. And we discussed, so I'll ask you, what is the maximum shrinkage strain allowed in the concrete as per IS 456-2000? What is the maximum shrinkage strain? Yes, exactly, 0.0003. Yes, you are right, very good. Then after that, we discussed about the Young's modulus of the concrete. While calculating the Young's modulus of the concrete, we discussed what should we be considering, or what is the Young's modulus of the concrete. We discussed it under two headings, that is short-term modulus and long-term modulus, or static modulus and dynamic modulus. What is short-term modulus? It considers the effect of instantaneous loads, right? Then long-term modulus considers the effect of creep and shrinkage, and short-term modulus is actually discussed in the three headings, that is initial tangent modulus, and secant modulus. We know all the three things, and how to calculate the short-term modulus as per IS 456-2000. What is the equation for finding the short-term modulus of elasticity of the concrete? You already know the equation, right? 5000 root FCK. It is an empirical formula for calculating the Young's modulus or modulus of elasticity of the concrete. Then after that, we discussed about the long-term modulus of elasticity, which is obtained by the equation EC divided by 1 plus theta, where EC is the short-term elastic modulus, which will give you, that equation will give you the long-term elastic modulus, where theta is the creep coefficient. We know the value of theta, right? Creep coefficient, right? What is creep coefficient? Values. For 7 days, it is 2.2. For 28 days, it is 1.6. For 1 year, it is 1.1. And if you apply the values there, you will get the long-term modulus of elasticity. Right now, after that, we discussed about the tensile strength of the concrete. Tensile strength of the concrete is obtained by two tests, that is flexural test, and our split tensile test. And we know how to do the flexural test, and it will not give you, actually it's actually very difficult for us to find the tensile strength of the concrete by the test. So IS code is giving us one equation for finding the tensile strength or flexural strength of concrete bending. It is also known as, what is the flexural strength of the concrete, or the other name for flexural strength of the concrete in bending? We call it as modulus of rupture, right? modulus of rupture. How to find the modulus of rupture? What is the empirical equation for finding the modulus of rupture? It is 0.7 root FCK, where FCK is the characteristic compressive strength of the concrete. You have to remember these two equations, these three equations, that is 5000 root FCK, 5000 root FCK divided by 1 plus theta, and 0.7 root FCK, right? After that, we discussed about the split tensile strength test, where the tensile strength is obtained as 2P divided by pi dl, where P is the maximum load at which the first crack appears, and D is the diameter of the cylinder considered for the test, and L is the length of the cylinder. So I think we can move further, right? Shall we move further? Any doubts are there in these concepts? Yes. So we have to discuss some more things there. We have to give the heading, that is stress strain curve of steel. We have to discuss about steel also. Stress strain curve of steel. Steel means steel reinforcement. Okay. See, what are the different type of reinforcement we usually use in concrete in area? What are the different type of reinforcement we generally use in reinforcement concrete? Yes, Raushan, exactly. We can use different type of steels are available, or we can say reinforcement. Actually, reinforcement, we have mild steel bars and we have HYSD steel bars, or TMT steel bars are also there. TMT, that is thermomechanically treated steel bar, also there, right? I am going to consider it as a third one. These are the three type of reinforcement we generally use. Exactly. We have mild steel bars, we have HYSD, that is HYSD. What is HYSD? High yield strength deformed bars. High yield strength deformed bars. I will talk with we will discuss one by one, right? First, if I talk about the mild steel bar, we already know about this mild steel bar, right? Mild steel bar means we will be having the bar like this. Surface is smooth. Carbon content will be around 0.25%. That is less carbon content. Will be having less strength. Ductility will be more. We already know the stress strain curve of this mild steel bar, right now. So we have discussed it. Mild steel bar, the stress strain curve of the mild steel bar. In y-axis we will be having the stress. In x-axis we will be having the strain. So if you draw the stress strain curve of mild steel bar under tension, you will be getting something like this. Correct or not? Till here, which is stress is proportional strain, which is called proportionality limit or elastic limit. Here it is elastic limit. We have one upper yield point is there. We have lower yield point is there. This is called plastic region, or it is called yield plate, right? Then we are having our ultimate load point, and we are having our failure point is also there. These are the different. This is actually our stress strain curve of the concrete. See, in this stress strain curve of concrete, we have different points, right? We have a proportional limit is there. We have elastic limit there. Our upper yield point. I'm going to consider it as proportionality limit, elastic limit. We have upper yield point, we have lower yield point, we have ultimate point, and we have our breaking point. So these are the different strength values of importance we are considering in the stress strain curve of the concrete. And this classification is actually based on the yield strength of the steel bar. It is the classification, that is reinforcement, or the different grades of the reinforcement is based on the yield strength of the reinforcement. Here we can see two yield points are there. Upper yield point is there, lower yield point is there. Here, which one will I consider for the design? Will we consider upper yield point or lower yield point? Which yield point will I consider for the design? Exactly, we have to choose the lower yield point for the design. We have to consider the lower yield point, which will give you the Fy, or yield strength of this steel bar, right? Fy, that is yield strength of this yield strength of the steel bar. Why? Because compared to our upper yield point and lower yield point is more stable, which does not depend upon the area of cross section. You don't have to go into that details, which will give you the Fy of the yield strength of the steel bar, right? Coming to our HYSD steel bars. Or we can say high yield strength bars, high yield strength deformed bars, that is HYSD bars. and here the carbon content will be more, strength of the reinforcement will be more, ductility will be less. For HYSD bars, the carbon content will be more, hence the strength of the reinforcement will be more and ductility will be less. If you draw the stress strain curve for HYSD steel bars, if I draw the stress strain curve of this HYSD steel bars, you will be getting something like this. You will be getting something like this. Where, see, if you compare these two curves, now you can see a curve is going like this, and finally it is breaking here. You can see one yield point here, right? Here the yield point is actually we can take that yield point. Here we cannot find where the yield point is, or yield point is not specified right now. So for that, see, our grade of concrete is based on our yield strength of bars, right? So in order to find the yield strength of the bar, what I am going to do is, I am going to, in x-axis we are having strain, right? I am going to consider a strain value that is 0.2% or 0.002. After that, I am going to draw a parallel line to the initial straight portion. If I draw a parallel line, it will meet somewhere in this curve. It will meet somewhere in this curve, and the stress corresponding to that point, is taken as Fy. That is the yield strength of our HYSD steel bars. First, I am going to consider the strain value, that is 0.002, and I am going to draw a line which is parallel to the initial straight portion. It will meet somewhere in this curve, and the stress value corresponding to that point is taken as the yield strength of this HYSD steel bar. Why we are doing this? Why? Because here we can distinguish the yield strength of the yield point value, right? We are having a yield point here. We are having a yield plate is there. But in high yield strength deformed bars, we don't have separate yield point is not there, or yield plate is absent. So in order to find the yield strength of the steel bar, what I am going to do is, I am going to consider a strain value and proceed further to find the yield strength of the bars. This strain value I considered here is known as proof strain. Some of you were asking me about this proof strain in the previous lecture. This is called proof strain, right now. This is called proof strain. And if you want, what is the difference between this mild steel bar and HYSD steel bar? Here the carbon content is less, strength will be less, ductility will be more. Compared to coming to our HYSD steel bars, we will be having the bar like this. We will be having our bar like this, but corrugations or deformation, these kind of corrugations are present in our HYSD bar, which will improve the strength, or which will improve the bond between the reinforcement and the steel bars, right? We will be having our corrugations like this. We will be having something like this, right? You might have seen this in reality, right now. So this is called our HYSD steel bars. Compared to mild steel bar, it is having high strength and less ductility, right now. And HYSD steel bar actually is of two grades. We can consider it as Fe 415 grade steel is there, and Fe 500 grade steel is also there. What is the meaning of Fe 415 grade steel? I discussed with you. This grade of steel is based on the yield strength of the steel bar, right? Fe 215, Fe 415 means the yield strength is 415 Newton per mm square. Fe 500 means the yield strength is 500 Newton per mm square. So you draw the curve for Fe 500, you will be getting something like this. You will be getting a curve like this, where the strength will be much more. Right now, this is the yield strength, and for Fe 415 yield strength will be 450 Newton per mm square, and Fe 500 yield strength will be 500 Newton per mm square. And if you talk about the Young's modulus of elasticity, we discussed the Young's modulus of elasticity or modulus of elasticity of concrete, right? There we have it's a non-linear curve, and we talked about the secant modulus. We discussed about the short-term modulus, long-term modulus. So we have to consider different modulus of elasticity there. Here in case of steel, we have a straight linear portion, and the slope of this will give you the Young's modulus of the steel. That is, stress divided by strain will give you the Young's modulus of the steel. Generally, for all type of steel, the Young's modulus value is taken as 2 into 10 power 5 Newton per mm square. ES will be equal to 2 into 10 power 5 Newton per mm square, or the coefficient of thermal expansion is generally taken as 12 into 10 power minus 6 per degree Celsius. 12 into 10 power minus 6 per degree Celsius. And if you want to remember, the unit weight will be equal to 78, not required actually, 7850 kilogram per meter cube, but not required for us. you have to remember these two values. The Young's modulus of steel will be is equal to 2 into 10 power 5 Newton per mm square, and alpha, that is coefficient of thermal expansion, will be is equal to 12 into 10 power minus 6 per degree Celsius. Right? And if you want, you can discuss further. We can move further. We know the strain value here, right? We know the strain value here, that is 0.002. If you want, we can find the strain value corresponding to this point. What is the strain value here at this point corresponding to this yield value? What is the strain there? If this is 0.002, means from here to here it will be 0.002. Correct? If it is 0.002, means in x-axis we are having the strain value. It will be 0.002 from the origin. Can you find what will be this? What will be this portion? Can you find the what is the strain value here? What is the strain value here? As we have discussed, this is ES and this is also ES. This value will be Fy. We have to calculate this strain value. We know what is ES. What is ES? Fy divided by this strain value. This distance, it is a triangle, right angle triangle. From this, if epsilon is equal to Fy divided by E, we can write it Fy divided by E. How did I write this? We are having a triangle here. If this is ES, this will also be ES. Why? Because we are drawing a line which is parallel to the initial straight portion, right? Yes, this is ES, and if I know this is Fy, that is yield strength. If I want to calculate this much portion, use just the basic concept. ES will be equal to Fy divided by this strain value. The strain value will be equal to Fy divided by ES. That is, total strain will be equal to 0.002 plus Fy divided by ES. The strain corresponding to our yield strength will be equal to 0.002 plus Fy divided by ES. Please note it down. Shall we? Yes. So we have discussed about this mild steel bar, HOST steel bar. We have TMT also. What is TMT? TMT is actually known as TMT, that is thermomechanically treated bars. Thermomechanically treated bars. Nothing is there actually. It is almost the chemical composition and everything is similar to our HOST steel bar, that is high strength yield bars. The difference is in the manufacturing process. In TMT, if we take the cross section of our steel bar, the TMT steel bars will be having an inner soft core. We will be having soft or tough and ductile inner core will be there. The inner core will be soft and ductile, and the outer surface, we are having outer surface also. The outer surface will be hard. The outer surface will be hard outer core. In thermomechanically treated bars, it is all the properties are similar to our HOST steel bars, but we will be having a soft inner core and our hard outer core. The inner core will be ductile in nature, more ductile than the outer core. That's the only difference you have to understand. That's the only one thing you have to remember. The difference is in the manufacturing. The difference will be there in the manufacturing process of our TMT and HOST steel bar. Otherwise, chemical combustion will be exactly same.